Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, November 10th, 2015. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. In keeping with the National Economic and Social Development Plan, the Ministry of Education strives to empower the nation's students to take up meaningful occupancy or create their own employment. So says Chief Education Officer Luan Gilchrist, who was at the time addressing the presentation of monetary rewards to students who successfully passed the 2015 CSEC and CAPE examinations. This year, the monetary reward was also presented to outstanding individuals from associate degree programs at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College Division of Arts, Sciences and General Studies, Division of Technical and Vocational Educational, and passes in the associate teaching degree at the Division of Teacher Education. A total of 547 students collected checks at the CSEC level, 198 at the CAPE level, and 135 at the associate degree level. Stating that the ministry, along with herself, are very pleased with the students' performance, Gilchrist urged all recipients to take stock of their lives and place emphasis on the opportunities which are afforded them.
That would explain the focus which there is at present on the development of technical and vocational education and training. So those of you who have skills, whether latent or in the process of being developed, please take advantage of the opportunities which exist for the training and certification of your skills. You as individuals need to understand the critical role which you play as individuals in the development of our nation. What you have achieved today is not just your own success, it is the success of your family, your community, of your nation.
Also addressing the students was Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Sams, who congratulated all of the recipients. He noted that one of the many reasons why his government decided to grant this award is that some families could not afford to pay for the upcoming CAPE exams. The Prime Minister outlined that even though many students were assisted by contributions through the Ministry of Social Development, there were still cases where the funds could not be sourced. He said as part of efforts to ensure this country's educational development, these issues have to be resolved.
There are some people who say, I should pay for everybody up front. And I don't mind doing that, you know. Let me tell you, but the problem is this. The problem is this. We waste a lot of money that way, because in Jamaica, where P.J. Patterson, the Prime Minister, introduced that, they had to change it because there are some students who will sign up for 10 subjects because they know they don't have to pay, and they only write 5. So CXC gets that extra money. The government loses.
In closing his address, the Prime Minister noted that all children are his children and promised the students that he would make it his business to develop more policies to give the nation's youth a fair chance at gaining a proper education.
880 students, it means that it is costing $440,000 today in checks to you all. I want to tell you that as long as I am where I am in the office I hold, I will have you as one of the principal emphases in my head daily. And every day I go to the office, all my waking hours, I think about the education, the training and the well-being of our students and our young people.
The past status and respect given to teachers have diminished in recent times. That's according to historian Dr. Adrian Fraser, who was speaking at the second day of the SVGTU's Education Conference held under the theme Quality Education, Its Relevance to National Development. Dr. Fraser says it is evident that the recent struggles of teachers concerning their wages are a symbol of this lack of respect. He adds that the work of teachers is very essential in today's time because people recognize the value of good grades and a higher education.
We have to admit that today that status has been diminished and the respect has disappeared. Even though not necessarily consciously, I am sure that many teachers today resent the disrespect that is shown to them when they consider the important and difficult work they are often called to do in a system to which education of the young is so essential. When your recent struggle was being talked about, someone made a comment in response to an article in the Eyewitness News, I believe, to the effect that the nurses and the police deserve the raise of pay, not the teachers. Without being disrespectful to the police, I immediately said to myself that this is a time when we are faced with escalating crimes. But when, on the other hand, parents take pride in their children's performance at school.
Dr. Fraser delivered his address under the theme, 40 Years, the Struggle Continues, where he highlighted some of the struggles of teachers and public servants alike that played a pivotal role in the development of SVG. He says that these events must be remembered by teachers and the public as an extension because teachers, along with other groups, pushed the move for independence in the 1970s.
Monday, November the 3rd, the first day of the strike, coincided with the hearing of the court case brought against 28 teachers charged for participating in that illegal march. Teachers turned up at the court dressed with red armbands in a show of solidarity with their fellow teachers. The cases were dismissed based largely on an administrative blunder. Teachers, however, took the opportunity to begin picketing the Ministry of Education, which they did for most of the day. By Wednesday, most of the primary schools were affected, some closed and others operating with limited teaching staff and in many cases a reduced student body. Most teachers from the intermediate high school went on strike, as did individual members from some of the other private secondary schools. The staff of the St. Joseph Convent called a one-day strike in support of the striking teachers, and in a letter to the union stated as follows, I quote, "The majority of our staff has nothing to gain monetarily. However, we feel that all teachers stand to benefit from a positive solution to the real urgent and demanding issues," end of quote. A meeting of teachers on Friday morning took the decision to continue with the march. The route was from the area of the Peace Memorial Hall, intended to end at the St. Martin's school grounds. At the police barracks, the march was stopped. Those at the front, members of the executive and a few of the teachers stopped and locked arms. Little went on for a while until a sudden blast of tear gas canisters broke up the crowd. The firing of tear gas continued on Back Street in the vicinity of the teacher's office, affecting members of the public passing by. One student was struck by one of the canisters and died sometime later.
And President of the SVG-TU, Oswald Robinson, on the opening day of the conference expressed concern with the current theories in education as it relates to gender development. Robinson says society has labeled boys and men as being slower in learning, using physical and emotional boundaries to hinder male development.
90% of the participants and more in adult education programs are women. And that is something we have to look at. Are our men becoming marginalized? When you look at the entry levels in primary school and even in secondary school, it's almost equal, you know. Boys and girls going to secondary schools. But when you look at the completion rate, you see girls are doing far better than boys.
Noting that he is not gender biased, Robinson urged all educators to make it their business to address this growing issue.
In other words, we have to create the sort of environment and the way we teach boys, we have to revisit that. We have to ensure that we have more hands-on, focus more on the process approach in the way we do things.
Vincentians are being given the opportunity to use their creative skills to design a poster that will inform the public on how modern biotechnology works. This will be done in the form of a poster competition organized by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment and the National Biosafety Framework Project Department. The theme of the competition is Uses of Modern Biotechnology, Implications for International Trade and the Protection of Biodiversity and Human Health. The competition is open to Vincentian nationals residing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines or in the diaspora. The organizers say the results of the competition will be published in the media and that only the first, second and third place winners will be notified personally. The prizes are as follows. First place, Samsung Galaxy Tablet 4. Second place, Blue Life 1 4G smartphone. And third place, a Sony digital camera. Persons can contact the Ministry of Health or the National Biosafety Framework Project Department for further information on the poster competition. The deadline for submission is Friday, November 13th, 2015. A 9-month suspended jail sentence was on Tuesday, November 10th, handed down upon Kimberly Bowens, a resident of Otley Hall, after she was convicted on 2 separate charges of tendering counterfeit monies and possession of the same on May 7th, 2015. During the trial, the court heard that on the date in question, Bowens went to Courts St. Vincent Limited to purchase a television. She subsequently went to the cashier and handed to her 19 $100 bills, only one of which was detected to be legal. As a result, the police at CID was summoned to the scene and, having carried out investigation, escorted Bowens to the Central Police Headquarters. A search was conducted on a bag which Bowens had in her possession, and the discovery of a further $20 to $100 counterfeit bills was made. This resulted in Bowens' arrest. Elections are serious business. That's according to the ruling Unity Labour Party's candidate for East St. George, Camilla Gonsalves, in his address to persons attending the party's rally last Saturday night at the Richmond Hill playing field where the election date was announced. The younger Gonsalves noted that there are consequences, as elections are about choices in the way forward for oneself and the country and who better suits to lead it. Gonsalves and other ULP candidates took to the stage to reassure Vincentians about the party's policies and what to expect for the next 5 years under the ULP government, in a bid to secure their votes in the next general election slated for the 9th of December 2015.
You will choose between the ULP, which has guaranteed salary increases for you, greater poor relief, increased employment, geothermal energy, the international airport at Argyle, a new city at Arnesville with a new hospital and a new entertainment complex and a new port, a new hotel developments at Mount Wynn and Peter's Hope, new low-income houses, more building materials for the poor, new tablets, new laptop computers, more scholarships.
We see, for instance, the Thomas Saunders Secondary School, which is a most brilliant institution that has done well in a mere few years of existence. We see again to our right the Peace Memorial Hall, which languished for 10 years when Arnhem Eustace was the representative of this constituency. The Unity Labour Party government had completed construction of some 1,500 homes. What a government, comrades and friends.
Change from little community center rooms, as grateful as we were, to learning resource centers with computer labs and rooms for trading and infant to being a foreign affairs giant. We change from farmers borrowing monies from commercial banks at 9 and 10% interest to the establishment of the Farmer Support Company, which has already provided $12 million in loans at 2%. As farmers, we can boast of maintaining a lion's share of the root crop market in Trinidad and Tobago. In the 4th term, better prices for farmers' produce or yams or dasheen or Tanya and Edo's is the first order of business. Better prices are coming. I report today from our report card that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the largest exporter of cattle in CARICOM and the largest by far in those years. I report the Oria Fisheries Complex is expected to export fish to the United States of America.
As the election day draws near, the opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, today launched the party's manifesto on its official website. The manifesto features the NDP's 15-point plan for its first year in government, along with 10 major development projects, including a proposal for the construction of a 1,000-unit integrated residential and hotel resort complex on mainland St. Vincent. Under fiscal policy, the NDP proposes a mixture of stimulus and austerity measures aimed at improving the economic growth of the country, with the appointment of a committee on public financing and debt to conduct a full review of the government's financial position, noting that the committee will report to the administration within the first 2 months in office. The NDP is also proposing the reduction of salaries of all parliamentarians until the economic situation of the country improves, the reduction of fees for all directors of all statutory boards and government-owned companies, along with the removal of VAT on basic foods. To further stimulate growth, the party says it will also provide stimuli to all the major productive sectors of the economy, with a view to achieving a current account surplus and an overall deficit not exceeding 3% of GDP within 3 years. In the area of the private sector development, the NDP proposes an end of competition among government enterprises and small businesses, the establishment of a development bank, as well as the establishment of a ministry of private sector. In healthcare, there are proposals for a new healthcare management system, introduction of a national health insurance service, as well as the building of a new state-of-the-art hospital. The manifesto also makes provision for the completion of the Argyle International Airport project. And the NDP's candidate for West Kingstown, Daniel Cummings, has reiterated his party's commitment to improving healthcare in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Speaking at a meeting in Richland Park last Saturday, Cummings stated that his party's proposed state-of-the-art hospital is well planned and thought out, with input coming from stakeholders in the healthcare sector.
The NDP sat down for a long time with a group of professional people. We listened to you. We listened to the doctors, the nurses, the lab technicians. We listened to people who run public hospitals and private hospitals. We listened to your cry, and we came up with a plan. We came up with an achievable plan, not just for building a hospital, but for turning around the madness that passes for healthcare in this country.
Cummings also reaffirmed his party's commitment to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
This NDP government is not about talk. This NDP government is about people. This NDP is about people. It's about people's livelihoods. It's about people's health. It's about people's children. It's about people's future. It's about people's pension.
The NDP is expected to host a media conference tomorrow at its headquarters, where it says further plans for the hospital will be outlined. Lawyer and former politician René Batiste says the political culture which exists here does not allow for any political debate. Batiste, who was a panelist on last Sunday's Hit Talk program, says debates are a norm in American culture, since presidential candidates do not participate in debates after election, while in SVG, prime ministers and candidates engage in debate even after being elected into office. She adds that Vincentians are confused by the American Republic governance as compared to the parliamentary democratic governance which exists here.
One of the issues that, first of all, we have to look at is our political culture and also the political construct that we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in many of the Caribbean countries, in that it is a parliamentary democracy that we have as against the republicanism from which we borrow this popular idea of having a debate. And we love the idea of debate because we have seen more and more of it from the United States style of debate, because that is not the English traditional style of debate. These are questions that are posed to individuals running for a presidency in a Republican form of government, where the persons who are candidates and who eventually will win, one wins, will be the president. And the president does not have the opportunity to engage with the American public with a back and forth.
As Vincentians prepare to face the polls on Wednesday, December 9th, a special voter registration period has been announced by Governor General Sir Frederick Ballantyne. His Excellency says the special 15-day voter registration period, which commenced yesterday, Monday, November 9th, will end on Monday, November 23rd, 2015.
A revised register of voters, which is a preliminary list, will be posted by Wednesday, the 11th of November 2015 in the various places mentioned in the notice published in the Gazette and the newspapers. Every person who is 18 years of age or older on or before Monday, the 23rd November 2015 is entitled to be registered as a voter and must ensure that they complete their registration during this period.
And the election fever is heating up in several communities in the country, and the evidence of this is clear at the Sandhill intersection, where supporters of both the ruling Unity Labour Party and the opposition New Democratic Party have been involved in what is being described as a painting war. The main roads, sidewalks and retaining walls have all been painted with signs of both parties. Earlier today, SVG-TV news team visited the area where supporters of the ULP and the NDP have been conversing since the announcement of the election date. Though we were unable to get a comment from the supporters of the ULP, those who are seemingly in support of the NDP were more vocal.
How things is going in this country, it's going real bad. And we need a change. They already have a change. And the only change going in is pocket. Not for the people. Time enough. Come over. Join us. Time enough.
The Labour Party. I used to be the last election I voted for Labour. I will vote local. But why change? Because I see the government right now, the thing they promise when things they do, they building the airport on the wrong idea. Wrong ideas they have building the airport. They're putting everything the country get into the airport. You can't do a small struggling country.